While your carefree dog lies around in its comfy little bed, thousands of animals around the world are finding themselves in life or death situations. People for help, and people find the courage to act. This calf gets carried away by the current while trying to cross a river. He would have been doomed if not for this brave guy. The dog simply stops breathing while on a walk. His owner is certain that her pet is already gone, but this random passerby decides to try to resuscitate him.
Calm yourself down for her.
Apparently, I need to sign up for a first aid course right away. This poor cat froze to the ice right next to a walking path, and only these two women answered her cries for help. She's gonna be just fine now. Look at how this woman is trying to return a lost baby koala to its mama. These are the moments that restore your faith in humanity. This woman isn't taking on these waves for fun. Her dog got swept into the water during a storm. It was only on the second attempt that the owner was able to reach him. This cat pays a high price for leaving the safety of its yard. It's awful to think about what could have come of it had this man not come to the rescue. A poor fox spent days trying to get out of an icy canal. Upon seeing some humans, it begs for its life. They try to help it climb out on its own, but end up having to save it with their own hands. A tiny baby dolphin accidentally swims into a dead end and throws itself ashore out of desperation. But thankfully, this woman notices. She decides to take it to the sea in hopes that it'll find its way home. Come on, little guy, swim to your mother and don't lose her again. This man is horrified because his dog is still inside the burning car. A policeman immediately begins searching for the dog, whose time is running out.
Oh my God! Where's it at?
Just getting it out of the car turned out to be even more difficult than they were expecting. You can always buy a new car, but you can never buy a new best friend. This is what happens when a hummingbird doesn't notice a tree while flying 40 kilometers per hour. Looks like it's doing a system check now. You'll never guess where this foal is leading these people. It's desperately asking them to try to help it get to its mother. A little fox cub decides to help itself to some dog food, but instead gets its head stuck in a jar. Lucky for this fox, it stumbled into this particular person's yard.
There we go.
And now it looks like this little cub belongs to him. Just look at how this dog gets swept away by the current. It takes a whole team of police officers to get it out. But the most difficult part was still ahead of them, urgently resuscitating the dog. This squirrel probably just wanted to play with some fishing line, but it got all tangled up and couldn't get out. It took these guys quite a long time to free him. Oh, look, he decided to come back and thank them. This mother dog continued to feed her puppies even after going 5 days without food or water because of a plastic jar stuck on her head. And all of them could have died had these brave guys not intervened. The only reason this donkey is still alive is because of a log it got caught on in a flooded river, and it needed to hold on long enough for these people to carry out a successful rescue mission. Someone stumbles across this poor, trembling baby that got wedged in a piece of rusty pipe. Here's what he had to do to free it. This king cobra got trapped in a fishing net, and thirst would have finished her if she couldn't attract people's attention. So she took a risk, and the people called a snake rescuer who took care of her. These two pups just wanted to play in the mud, but they unknowingly wandered into a tar pit. If these people hadn't been driving past, no one would have heard their howls for help. These little monkeys are using the last of their strength to cling to a pole for dear life. They definitely would have fallen in if this person hadn't shown up in time. But now they're saved. We don't know why these two elephants suddenly decided to swim across the sea, but one thing is for certain: they would have drowned without human help. The crews of two boats had to get creative to be able to attach ropes and tow the multi-ton animals to shore. This bear cub was abandoned by its mother and spent 6 whole days with a bottle on his head. Its instinct of self-preservation caused it to climb further and further up the tree, but the rescuers weren't giving up either. This young elephant was unlucky enough to have fallen into a hole the exact size of himself. It took a whole group of people to find a way to save him and keep him alive until then. This little bear went on his first voyage but swam too far and completely miscalculated his strength. And if not for these fishermen's boat, he would have simply sunk. These wild horses spent almost an hour in the icy water until their cries were heard by the locals. Luckily, they had heavy equipment to pull the animals out when every minute counted. This shark would have paid the ultimate price for hunting seagulls in shallow water if not for these caring people. They had to literally throw it back home. This little guy got hit by a car and his paw was badly injured. Unfortunately, doctors couldn't save the paw, but they were able to give Jad a new life. There's nothing more dangerous than a cornered animal, and this man could have paid a heavy price for his attempt to free this cougar. But he couldn't just leave it to be eaten by other predators. This little reef shark got hooked, but luckily these ladies were nearby and didn't leave it in trouble. An abandoned dog was trapped by a raging river and wasn't even trying to call for help, but an entire team of rescuers showed up for him. Almost 200 pigs were trapped in a barn that suddenly caught fire. But look at how a standard rescue operation turns into the sweetest thing ever. This eagle got a huge ball of ice frozen to its tail while hunting in the river. And if not for a couple of brave men, it would have become someone else's prey. When this orca got stuck on the rocks at low tide, she was doomed, but rescuers poured water on her for 6 hours so that she wouldn't die from overheating before the tide came in. This dehydrated leopard got its head stuck in a metal vessel, so it just sat in the middle of the road, hoping to receive help from people. Look at how the predator bravely tolerates handling while being rescued. Perhaps that's enough for today. Have you ever helped an animal in need? If so, be sure to tell us about it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video if it inspired you.